When it comes to prospecting, one of the biggest things that I feel like people are missing out on is their work ethic. A lot of people are not putting in the time and the energy and the effort that is actually required to see massive levels of results. Too many people, way too many people come to me and say like, hey, I'm prospecting, but I'm not getting results. I'm prospecting, but I'm not getting enough leads. I'm prospecting, but I'm not getting any deals under contract. What is going on? Let's break down let's break down the brass tacks. Let's actually understand the data. What do you actually mean by prospecting? How many actual hours are you putting in to making phone calls? All right, so many individuals are giving me a call and they're like, hey, I made 3 hours worth of calls and I spoke to 10 people. I made 2 hours worth of calls and I spoke to 15 people, whatever it is, right? But what I'm here to share with you right now is that the ultimate version of you is going to take more than just calling a handful of people every now and again. That's not going to be enough. What is going to be enough is prospecting until you get a result. Prospecting until you get 2 leads every single day, no matter what. Prospecting until you see the result in your business. For 4 years straight, I was prospecting, 3 or 4 or 5 days a week to try to get to 100 conversations a day. And people are telling me that they're struggling to even get to 10 or 20 conversations. You're just not putting in the work. Calling, working from, let's just say 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. is just not enough, right? If you want to see massive levels of success in your business, you're going to have to work 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week. And let me just explain to you what that actually means, okay? So if you literally take out your phone, and you click on the stopwatch function on your iPhone and you click start, right? You're going to, you click start here, and then you're going to be able to make your calls, do your thing. And then as soon as you stop doing anything that is related to prospecting, I want you to click stop. And I want you to actually track how much time you're actually spent prospecting. You click start again when you're prospecting, right? And what you're going to notice is that the vast majority of people are not making enough calls. They're not spending enough time on the phones. And what they're doing is literally everything else. And it's mind-blowing because lead generation is one of the most valuable activities you can possibly be doing as a real estate agent, a wholesaler, or even as an investor to get business, right? Generating opportunities. However you're going to generate the opportunities. And again, obviously this community is all about prospecting. I'm a huge fan of whatever it takes, right? We just do whatever it takes until shit happens. We do whatever it takes until we get the result. So if our minimum standard, right? If you want to say your minimum standard is generating 2 seller leads a day, wonderful. Then you should be prospecting until you get 2 seller leads every single day. If it takes you 30 minutes, 3 hours, or 10 hours, it's just whatever it takes. And then you get to do everything else in your business. It's not a secondary or a tertiary task. It's the primary task in your business to see success. But I want you to understand, let's break down exactly what it looks like to work 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week, by the way, if you're working 80 hours a week, that doesn't mean Monday through Friday. We work 6 or 7 days a week. When you're a commissioned individual, when you work as a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, we don't have weekends. The week does not end. It is about doing whatever it takes until the result occurs. When you're working 80 hours a week, we don't just say, oh, it's Saturday, I don't work today, right? Sunday, I don't work today. That's not how it works. We work until the result occurs. So if you want to do more business and you're working 40 hours a week, I'm going to laugh at you. Anybody's going to laugh at you, right? Like if you're talking to people who make $1 million, $2 million, $5 million plus dollars a year, the biggest, most successful entrepreneurs in the space, you're going to realize that the most successful people are putting in way more hours than you could ever expect. And whatever you're doing now is nowhere near the level of standard that you need to be at in order to see the results in your life. I used to work from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single day. That was 16 hours a day, minimum 6 days a week. Most of the time, it was 6.5-ish days a week. I would take every Saturday night off, and that was my thing. So for you right now, if you're looking at your business and you're not where you're at, check yourself. I was working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, minimum, which is 96 hours a year. At a minimum, 96 hours a week. 96 hours a week, guys, at a minimum. Most of the time it was over 100. That's just what it takes in order to see results. 2, let's talk about prospecting. Not only just about your the amount of work, the amount of hours that you're putting in, but let's talk about minimum standards. If you're not let's just talk about how to simplistically do this, right? Because I'm talking about we just talked about how many hours you need to work. I want to talk about specifically how you can actually achieve this. Because if you're not using an auto dialer, okay, which there is funny how there's some brokerages that even say you shouldn't be using an auto dialer. I think you're caught up in the 1960s. Guys, it's 2025 for frick's sake. We have AI that literally makes calls for you these days. You have to just get with the times, right? So get a dialer. I don't care what dialer it is. You can literally look up auto dialers, call tools, Mojo Cells, Red-X, Vulcan 7, things that they're even integrated in half your CRMs these days. So you can literally use a dialer within your CRM half the time. So, whatever it takes, the point is use a dialer. You can literally upload a lead list, okay, or a prospect list, okay, a prospecting list into your dialer, prospect through the dialer, and then when it becomes a lead, you put the lead into your CRM. It's that simplistic. You don't have to make it complicated. And this is how you can have 100 conversations a day in 4, 5, or 6 hours instead of it taking you, 17 hours a day because you're hand dialing. And I think that would be, I'd be pathetic, right? But I mean, I want you to understand something. I've had people, when they join our team, we don't give them a dialer to start. We tell them they have to hand dial for the first 2 weeks, and we see how well they do. And if they do a great job, we'll give them a dialer, because we don't just give a dialer to anybody who's just going to, gets on the team. Like, congratulations, you get access to a dialer to make your life super easy. No, I want to see that you're going to put in the work no matter what. So during the trial period, we make them hand dial, and those individuals start making 300 calls a day hand dialing. Because if you want to see success, you're going to do whatever it takes. Okay, so we're saying get a dialer, number one. Number two, you're going to need a software to provide you the lead. So I don't care if it's CREsync, Reonomy, CoStar, PropStream. I don't care where you're getting the leads from, right? The point is you need to have some type of lead list, right? And prospect list. Okay, they're not leads yet. They can be leads, but you're going to get some type of prospecting list from one of those softwares. So you're going to have to get a software, export that into your dialer, and then you're going to just make your calls using our script book. It's, again, it's in the program here, right? So, it's either down in the description down below, or it's in, it's wherever you can find the script book. I mean, like, literally, we have it for free. You can download it any which way that you want to do it. It's completely free. Just download it, use it. It works. Now you do this until you have the 2 leads every single day, right? Like, this is how you become successful in this industry. You just do whatever it takes until it occurs, right? Next, let's talk about generating more leads and how this actually happens step by step. We just talked about the amount of hours you need to work. We talked about the dialer, the software to find everything. Let's talk about the way of being, right? Because so many people today are struggling when it comes to lead generation, not because they're not doing the work, but because they don't use a script, because they don't role play with other people, and because they do not actually listen. They don't listen to game tape. And then number 4, they don't actually make adjustments over time. They just do the work, the mundane nonsense, and they just go through it and they don't even think about it, right? Now, if we break this down step by step using a script, it's free, download it, just follow the script, read it, it works. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Number 2 is role playing. Like, guys, there's literally thousands of people in our communities, right? Like, all you have to do is raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to role play. Does anybody want to role play their scripting with me, right? And some people are going to raise their hand, right? Like, there's going to be someone who says, absolutely, right? We do this all the time. So if you're not practicing with a colleague or someone within the communities, like, you just got to ask, and people will say yes, because so many people are trying to work on themselves, and you're going to find people that are interested. I implore you to find somebody and just role play every single day, 5 to 10 minutes a day. It will absolutely change your business. Next, record yourself. Literally, one of the biggest reasons why I love the fact that we do a ton of content is because I literally get to see thousands of clips of my content, of my cold calls. So I get to go through it repeatedly over and over and over again. And see my cold calls in real time. And I get to say, like, oh, that worked, that didn't work. I get to adjust this. I like this. I want to continue doing that, right? Watch it. Just literally record yourself on Zoom and then watch the game tape. Click stop as soon as you finish any good conversation, and then listen to it over and over and over and over again. So you can see where you messed up, where you did well, and you can make adjustments over time. And the last one is that you want to take notes and write down the objections, right? Like, taking notepad. You have a notepad right in front of you, or even on your phone while you're prospecting, okay? I just want you to understand, like, it does not have to be complicated. You could literally just write down, let's say you got an objection, didn't know how to respond to it, and then you just hang up the phone, right? You're like, I don't know what to say, right? Like, I don't know how to respond to this, which can happen, right? It happened to me for a while, right? I didn't know what to say. So I just would hang up. This was many years ago. And then I would wrote down the objection, and then I would just study how to overcome that objection. Okay. And then I role played it, and I role played it, and I role played it. And then I got the same objection again, and I handled it. And then I got the same objection again, and I handled it. I'm like, okay, this is great. And then the next time I got an objection I didn't understand, I just clicked, I hung up, I didn't know what to do. Right. I wrote it down, and then I worked it and worked it and worked it. And all of a sudden you get really, really good. And the point is that nowadays it's like, guys, it's like, if I asked you right now, I took all of your sales calls, right? Like, who here would want me to take your sales calls? Like, everyone would raise their hand, of course, right? You'd want me to take all your sales calls because you'd probably generate more business. But the reason why you're saying that is because I'm more scripted than you are. I've practiced it more than you have, right? I have more experience than you, and all of you can be in my shoes just by doing the work. Make more calls, practice your sales scripts, record yourself, make adjustments, write down your objections, and work on and role play consistently. You can be in the same exact position, right? It does not have to be complicated. Next, prospecting larger price points. So many people here, right? Like, whether, I don't care if you're an investor, a wholesaler, or a real estate agent, whatever you're looking to do. Prospect larger price points, target larger deals. So many of us are just prospecting the bottom of the barrel, right? Like, I don't care if you're in the middle of Kentucky middle of the country anywhere, right? You're in the middle of Alabama and you're like, yeah, my local market is 200 grand, right, for a house. Cool. Doesn't mean you have to prospect in your local market, right? I live in Florida and I prospect across the entire country, right? I look for the greatest deals in the marketplace, but I want to be making sure that I'm prospecting deals that are between 2 and 20 million bucks, because every single deal, my minimum standards, I want to make $100,000 on every deal. And if I want to make $100,000 on every deal, I need a minimum price point of 2 million bucks if I close the deal on my own, or $4 million when I close it with my team, right? Like, okay, like I know that I'm going to make probably $100,000 if we make 6% commission on a deal that's, X amount of money, right? Like, so that being said, it's like I want to prospect in deals where I know I can make a minimum of $100,000 net in my pocket. Great. That's what you should be prospecting for, right? And you don't have to wait to do that. You don't have to wait to start prospecting like that, right? Like you can do that today. Instead of prospecting $200,000 little baby properties in your backyard, where every single time you close a deal, you make $4,000 or $6,000. It's like close a deal where you can make $100,000, and this way, if you do 2 or 3 or 4 of those a year, right, you have more cash than like you've ever experienced before, and you can actually get ahead financially. Because the problem is when most people get into this business, they prospect what's comfortable, and then they get uncomfortable financially because the property prices aren't high enough for them to actually stay in business, right? Because you close a deal and you barely can get ahead. You close a deal and you barely can get ahead, and until you start selling multiple of these types of properties every single month, which sometimes is very difficult, then all of a sudden you can finally financially get ahead. But if you get into commercial real estate, you learn to prospect decent sized deals. You do the work like we've been describing, like this training right here. Guess what? All of a sudden, when you close the deal, you can get infinitely financially ahead. You can get financially ahead for 6 months, pay off all your credit card debt, whatever whatever's going on in your life, pay off your car loan, this loan, whatever. You're like, oh wow, I'm finally above ground, right? Like I'm not drowning anymore in debt. I can actually get ahead, right? You close one deal, you can finally get ahead. And then you close a second deal and you're, wow, I'm in abundance right now. I can put 6 months of reserves away and still have cash left over. And then you close another deal and you're like, not only now I can have 12 months of reserves and I can start investing. You close another deal and you're like, wow, I can actually buy a property and nothing else changes in my life. This is why we sell commercial real estate. But you have to learn how to sell 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 deals every year minimum, right? Like this is why we pound the phones. This is why we are so consistent. This is why I don't ever just condole having the like a minimum standard of 1 or 2 deals closed a year. Sure, you can make 100 to 200 grand a deal, but I want you to close 4, 5, 6 deals minimum a year, make $500,000 to $1 million a year. I want you to feel what abundance feels like, because it's freaking unbelievable. The feeling like where you don't have any stress anymore. You can go to bed and sleep soundly at night. I want you to understand how that feels. Nothing would make me happier than having every single one of you feel that way. And you will never feel that way if you're prospecting $200,000 houses or even commercial properties that are worth $500,000. Like if you want to make big money, you have to prospect bigger deals. And it's like, don't feel like this is overly complicated. Just prospect a little bit larger properties, right? We talk about this a gajillion times all over my content. You prospect like a freaking madman. You generate 2 seller leads every single day, right? You practice and get better at your scripting ability, your lead generation ability, right? Your sales ability. You prospect at a decent price point so that every single time you work on a deal, you should be able to make a certain amount of money. We talked about how to find great buyers for literally every single deal you can possibly imagine. And you put the deals that you just found, these leads, these opportunities you just created, you put them in front of your buyers enough times where you can generate 1 true offer every single day, right? Along with your 2 seller leads or 2 seller opportunities every single day, and you will make more money than you know what to do with if you do that for long enough in your business. That's it. Don't overcomplicate the simplicity of this industry. I love how simplistic this industry is. I'm a 2-time college dropout. If it was any more complicated, I wouldn't be as successful as I am. The reason why I love this industry so much is because it's super freaking simple. If I do X, Y, and Z, 100X each, I'm probably going to make money. That's it. I don't need to know how to code. I don't even need to know how to market. I need to know how to pick up a phone and say the same thing that's written on a piece of paper to them, and I will probably see results. That's it. And if you're wondering how to increase your average sales price, expand your geographic location, expand to the county size, tri-county, a larger MSA, the whole state, prospect larger geographic locations, expand your asset classes that you're targeting. There is not a drastic difference between industrial and retail. Like it's really not that complicated, right? Like everyone might try to argue that it's incredibly complicated. I'm here to tell you it's not. Okay? Because if it was, I wouldn't be able to sell it, right? It's not that complicated. If you study and you know how to do some research, you're going to figure it out, right? That's why people join the coaching. This is why people join the team. Like this is why people are within our communities, just to learn a little bit faster than the average. Next is follow-up, people. So many people, right? You want to know what the average person does in the sales industry? You know what the average person does for follow-up? One phone call. That is the average salesperson's follow-up. They follow up one time. They follow up one time. So if you just followed up twice, you're 100% better than the competition. So I'm going to share with you how you can drastically increase your follow-up, which will increase your conversion, because the amount of people who actually do business with you on the very first call is so minimal, right? It's on average 2% in the entire sales industry. 2% is sold in the entire sales industry. In the real estate world, it's less than 2%. I'm just saying 100% of the time. You know, I'm just going to say, okay? Like I don't want to say that it's every single time, but literally 100% of the time, in my opinion, 100% of the time, there is another phone call. Even if literally you called them up and somehow on that phone call, you got them to sign a contract, a PSA on the very first phone call, you still have to speak to them probably one more time before closing, right? Like, let's just be honest. Come on now. So if that is the case in the real estate world, right? In majority of the time, 99.999% of the time, you're going to have to speak to that person at least probably half a dozen to a dozen or 2 dozen times, somewhere in that range, 6 to 24 times in the entire process between the first phone call and the day you close and collect your check. Why on planet Earth are you thinking that possibly you can get away with not following up with people, right? And for those of you who are doing your follow-up, great, but I'm going to talk to you about how you can do your follow-up 10 times better. So one is about how long you do your follow-up for. Our follow-up campaigns, if someone who's not interested in selling right now, go for 10 years. Okay, it's really aggressive for 3 years. And then after the third year, it goes to once a quarter for the next 7 years. And that's emails, text messages, and ringless voicemails for 7 years straight, 4 times a year, every year. This allows us, and it's not exactly 90 days, okay? It's not exactly 90 days because we try to mix it up just a little bit. So do it for longer. Next is do it faster. So if they say, hey, follow up with me in 30 days, don't do 30 days because that's what a lot of very new rookie-esque salespeople would do, right? You don't want to do exactly what they say. You want to do it 3 times faster, right? So, and most of the time, I would even tell you doing it half as fast or twice as fast, right? Twice as fast. So they say, call me back in a month, call them back in 2 weeks. Now, that could be a good benchmark, but I'm even telling you in this call, do it 3 times as fast. Screw it. Do it in a week and a half. Call them in 10 days, right? They say, call me in a month, call them in 10 days. Be like this. Hey, John, Tanner again. You said you wanted me to call you back at the end of the month. I just wanted to make sure that was still part of the game plan and that you and the family are doing wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're doing great. Yeah. Call me back at the end of the month. Okay. Wonderful. And just again, to make sure like nothing's changed, like you're still on track for that time frame. Nothing's adjusted that time frame at all. No. We're still in the month. Cool. Awesome. Glad you hear that your family's doing wonderful. I'll call you back in a little bit. No problem. Take care. I don't need to go too crazy. I just need to make sure we're still on track for that. And I touch base with them because sometimes what happens is you go, hey, John, it's Henry again. We spoke about 10 days ago. You said you wanted me to follow up with you at the end of the month. I just wanted to follow up with you and just make sure that was still part of the game plan or if things had changed. No. Actually, we're ready to do something now. All right, wonderful. So sounds good. You know, does an afternoon or evening appointment work better for you? Evening. Okay, great. I can do Tuesday or Thursday at 5 o'clock. What works better for you? Thursday at 5. Okay, whatever. And then you book the meeting and you go do your thing, right? The problem is that most people don't do that follow-up until 30 days from now. And guess what? It's already listed. It's already sold. It's already under contract 30 days from now because people like me have followed up faster than you. And you don't want to lose out on that opportunity. Follow up faster. Next is work on more modes of communication. So most people are very familiar with the phone, right? So most people are familiar with this mode of communication. What happens though is that we've gotten into the thumb messaging, you know, the thumbing communication, which is just texting, right? Sending out a bunch of texts. It's like, oh, hey, John, it's Henry. I just wanted to follow up with you and see if you're still interested in selling property. Really rudimentary. I'm glad you're doing some follow-up though. You know, at least, just doing the action is positive, but I'm telling you how to do it better. I want you to call 100% of the time first time. Like if you're ever going to reach out to somebody, always call them first. 100% of the time, when you're doing business doesn't get done over text messages. 99% of the time, business gets done over the phone. So if you want to do business, get on the phone. If you want to just touch base with somebody saying, hey, I hope you and the family are doing well, right? You can shoot them a text. I'm not here to just, touch base with somebody. I'm here to make sure I do business with them, right? So you want to call them on the phone. And then if they don't answer you, you're going to 100% of the time leave a voicemail. And then if right after you're done with your voicemail, you're then going to leave a text message. You're then going to send a text message saying exactly the same thing that you just said in your voicemail. And then as soon as you're done with your text message, you're immediately going to send them an email. All right, so you're going to hit them with 4 modes of communication within a 2-minute period of time. Call first, always leave a voicemail, send them a text message, and an email right away. And then if you do that a dozen times, and obviously they're not answering, there's another reason why that's not occurring, right? Something's going on. You should be calling off of another phone number after the 3rd time, right? 3rd attempt. You try them in a week period of time, 3 times within a week, you should immediately start. I even do it on sometimes on the second call. They don't answer my second call, I'm using another phone right away. I'll ask my wife for her phone. I'm like, hey, I need your phone, honey. I'm going to make a couple sales calls. And I'll use her phone because they don't recognize the number. I want to make sure that I'm constantly paying attention to that. But I would be like, at minimum, try it maybe after 3 in the first week if they're not answering you, right? Especially when it comes to follow up and they told you to follow up and you're doing the thing, right? And it's past the time frame in which they told you to follow up and they're not answering you, switch phones. Really, really important one. On top of that, what you could be doing is a handwritten letter. Goes really far. It still goes really far in 2025. Highly recommend that you get an envelope that's a bright color, bright blues, bright yellows, bright reds, greens, whatever. Okay. Pink, whatever you want to use, bright colors really, really works. All handwritten. You don't have to make it complicated. You can literally get a note, just be like, hey, John, hope you and the family are doing, hey, John, it's Henry with EXP Commercial. Reaching out to you as I promised I would. Wanted to see if selling the property 123 Main Street was still part of the plan. Sending you and the family, nothing but positivity and joy, right? That's it. And you throw your business card in there. That's it. It doesn't have to be complicated. You send that out. They don't get cards like that, right? And the wife's gonna be like, oh wow, this is really thoughtful, right? And the guys will be like, yeah, I should give him a call, right? Next thing you're gonna do, guys, if you're already posting a ton of content on social media, reach out to if you're already on social media and you're posting, you should be following your clients. Find them on Instagram. Find them on Facebook. Find them on LinkedIn. Find them anywhere. And guess what? If they follow you back, this is a really simple way of how to follow up with them without doing drastically more work, right? You don't have to make it complicated. And the last thing I'm going to say to you is that your CRM system should be able to create a campaign. You can literally go on ChatGPT and just create campaigns however you need to do it, okay? Does not have to be complicated. You can go on ChatGPT. You go on ChatGPT and you say, hey, I'm a commercial real estate agent in XYZ market. I want you to create a automatic campaign that includes text messages, emails, and if you have the capacity for it, ringless voicemails. And I want you to create all the scripts so that I can literally copy and paste it into my CRM system. I want this campaign to be very aggressive for the first X amount of time frame. And then after that, I want it to slowly taper off into larger and larger time frames between each message. I want it to be really thoughtful and creative to make sure I stand out among the rest of my competition. And you just send that into ChatGPT, and it's going to give you a bunch of stuff that you can just copy and paste. And then you can communicate back and forth. And like, I actually want you to tweak this, this, and this. And then I want you to tweak this, this, and this. But all you need is a framework, edit it a little bit, spend 2 hours doing this, guys. Like, you're going to be grateful because you're going to take 2 to 3 hours to do this. And then it's going to run for the next year, 2, 3 of your career. Okay. It does not have to be complicated. The point is do the work up front so that it can make your life easier way down the road.